Hi everyone, I am Daron Spillman. Today is November 26, 2024. This is the live daily briefing of the Israeli Citizen Spokesperson's Office. We're live on Instagram, X, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and wherever you get your podcasts. Please start submitting questions in the chat, and as always, like and subscribe to help us reach a wider audience. Israel will not allow a return to October 6th, not in the Gaza Strip, not in Lebanon, and nowhere in Israel. You may have heard the news reports of a ceasefire in Lebanon. There is discussion of Israeli troops withdrawing in stages over 2 months, as well as speculation about many other details. However, one detail seems clear to everyone in Israel. Israel has got to reserve the right to act against any Hezbollah violations. It's not just about Hezbollah rocket launches into Israel. It is about not allowing Hezbollah's rocket launchers that later can be armed to shoot into Israel. Hezbollah knows this, which is why Iran's terror army in Lebanon are taking those last few minutes and hours before the ceasefire to fire off their last rockets. They have to be pretending to be winning, both for their people and their bosses in Iran, the world's largest state actor of terrorism. But everyone really knows the truth. Hezbollah was planning their own October 7th. And because Hamas attacked first in southern Israel, and Israel immediately rallied its reserves, which we sent to the northern border, Israel stopped an attack that Hezbollah was planning that was going to be 10 times larger than Hamas's attack in the south. Hezbollah fortified the border with their terror army. Israel dismantled them. Hezbollah stockpiled more weapons than many European countries. Israel has destroyed most of them. Hezbollah's leader is gone, and his replacement, and the state of Israel and the government has said it will keep up the pressure so that Hezbollah cannot attack Israel and Israeli civilians, more than 60,000 of which include men, women, and children who have not seen their homes in a year and a quarter, can go safely back to their homes. Israel is fighting because on October 6th and after, the world failed its responsibilities to stop Hezbollah, to stop Iran, and their terror regimes all throughout the Middle East. Like any country, Israel needs peace and security, and Israel will do whatever it must do to return quiet to its people. A few more words about a possible ceasefire. Ceasefire does not mean Israel ceases fighting and Hezbollah resumes fire. In 2006, there was a ceasefire. It was called United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701. And every term of this agreement was violated by Hezbollah. Hezbollah became a threat to Israel's people because, in a very simple way, they were allowed to. UNIFIL, the United Nations interim force in Lebanon, closed their eyes to Hezbollah. And the world told Israel, no, you can't stop Hezbollah. Don't attack Hezbollah. That is how Israel ended up with an Iranian base on its border. No more. Hezbollah cannot be along Israel's border. Hezbollah cannot rebuild its bases. Hezbollah cannot rearm from Syria or from anywhere else. Now, if the rules are broken, Hezbollah needs to know, and the world needs to know, Israel will act to protect its people so that we, just like any other country in the world, have the right to live in peace and safety. Now I'd like to take some questions from the audience watching live on social media.
Thank you, Doron. This question is from Hillary on Instagram, who writes, I'm confused over the possible ceasefire deal. I thought a ceasefire was not a good thing because it would give Hezbollah the opportunity to regroup and gain more arms. Can you explain?
A ceasefire deal would obviously give Hezbollah more time to regroup, and that is why this is a very perhaps problematic agreement for Israel to enter into. Let's remember, Israel never wanted to go to war in the north at all. It was Hezbollah that launched a war on Israel on October 7th when they saw that Hamas had beat them to the punch and was invading Israel. Israel's not in Lebanon because we want to fight. We didn't have any dreams or aspirations of sending our soldiers into Lebanon. Israel is in Lebanon so that the residents of northern Israel can go back to their border. A ceasefire agreement has two sides to it. On one side, it enables Israel to remove its troops, to rest, plan, and rearm. On the other side, correct, it gives Hezbollah the opportunity to also rest. And right now, Hezbollah is on the run, and that is why many people in Israel are very hesitant about this ceasefire. However, this ceasefire apparently has provisions where there will be an interim force. This has been tried before and it hasn't worked. But now an interim force with United States backing that will ensure that Hezbollah does not violate this agreement by coming closer to Israel south of the Litani River, which is around 15 miles from Israel's border. So Israel is being resolute and very clear. If any of these provisions are not being secured, and if Hezbollah is seen as crossing these borders, Israel reserves the right to respond. But I appreciate your question, and this is something that Israel has to keep its eye on, and it is a big concern for many people in Israel, including me.
Lebanon's foreign minister just said that the Lebanese army will be ready to have at least 5,000 troops deployed in southern Lebanon as Israeli troops withdraw. Is this a reason for optimism?
I would hope it'd be a reason for optimism. The only problem is you want to choose a friend that has actually done what they've said they're going to do in the past. The Lebanese army has had commitments in the past under the United Nations Agreement 1701. They were also supposed to be an interim force and prevent Hezbollah from going beyond the Litani River. And as we know, Hezbollah not only went along beyond the Litani River, they came all the way to Israel's border. During those, from 2006 till the present day, those 18 years, the Lebanese army did not live up to its commitment. If it does its job, then it is a sign for optimism. But to be optimistic in advance is to be unrealistic. We'll have to wait to see what happens.
This is a question from Sophie on Instagram who asks, what will Israel do to the terrorists who murdered Chabad Rabbi Zvi Kogan?
First of all, for those who do not know, there was a Chabad rabbi in the UAE that was unfortunately abducted and killed, leaving behind a wife whom he married less than a year ago. Truly tragic story, an innocent civilian that was just there helping the Jewish community and had no other aims whatsoever. The UAE has said that they have found, we cannot corroborate this, or at least I cannot corroborate this, 3 people that were involved in this act, and they were from Uzbekistan, and that they are being tried and convicted. The punishment will be meted out by the UAE, and therefore it is not within Israel's border. From an Israeli point of view, and I think from a Jewish point of view, we need to make sure that our representatives around the world, whether they are diplomatic delegations or other Israelis or Jews around the world, that the countries that they are residing in are responsible for their safety.
There are many questions on our live stream about the fate of the hostages in Gaza. Is there any connection between Israel's ceasefire agreement in Lebanon and the fate of Israeli hostages in Gaza?
The fate of Israeli hostages in Gaza is on everyone's mind. To remind us all, there are 101 men, women, and children, even a 1-year-old, that are right now inside Hamas's terror tunnels, deep underneath the ground, in the most horrific conditions inside of Gaza, which, if that is not a war crime, I don't know what is. That is constantly on Israel's mind. I would say that Israel's not drawing in a connection between a ceasefire in Lebanon, with the exception that when Hamas fought Israel in the south, their terror buddy in the north, Hezbollah, attacked Israel. What Israel does to Hezbollah, any type of peace agreement, Gaza remains a major issue. Until we can bring all of our hostages home, and until Hamas has no ability whatsoever to threaten the people of Israel, Israel has got to continue to fight in Gaza. There is no other condition out there that can stop this except for the return of the hostages and the removal of Hamas as a threat to the people of Israel.
This next question is from our Instagram live stream. How have these wars affected Israel's economy, and what can we do to help?
First of all, this war has been incredibly taxing on Israel's economy. Israel was not ready for a war, certainly not the longest war since the founding of Israel in 1948. which is 76 years ago. And everyone in Israel is going to have to reach deep into their pockets to fund this war. People have lost their small businesses because they've been called up to serve in the army. Also, people whose small businesses were located on the Gaza border or on the border with Lebanon, because of security concerns, have not been able to operate their businesses. So many small business owners have been paying this price for a long time. From a financial perspective, Israel right now is working on a long-term economic bailout package, both to help Israelis and help our country, frankly, finance our war against terror. Let's not forget, our war against terror is the world's war against terror. It just happens to be that Israel is the first step on that terror's descent to the rest of the world where it is seeking to attack. What you can do is encourage your countries to offer tax-free loans to Israel, to encourage your countries to buy Israeli products, and to encourage your countries to share part of the burden of preventing this war from spreading. We need to stop the next war before it begins. We could have stopped the Hamas war, we could have stopped the Hezbollah war before it began if the world would have pressured those two terror regimes to dismantle and move away from Israel's border. Let's act this time in advance, not just for economic reasons, but for safety reasons as well.
This is our final question today. Where do you see Israel in 5 years?
I see Israel in 5 years in a place that is now living in a new Middle East, a country that is no longer threatened by Hamas, which will have been dismantled, and the Gaza Strip will be on its own path to revitalization, clearly providing security for the state of Israel and quiet on our northern border with Lebanon, and hopefully without Hezbollah at all in existence. And Iran, that is then modified and mollified by the world, who realizes that this is a threat, and an Israel that has returned to its high-tech industry, which is the second largest industry in the world, Israeli people who are walking on the streets, tourists who are coming. Israelis want peace. Israel flourishes in peace. And any disturbance to that peace, if you look throughout history, has always come from outside actors. Israel, we have no aspirations to conquer territory. We have no aspirations to enforce on anyone else our beliefs. Our only goal is that Jews and Israelis who are not Jewish, who have Israeli citizenship, can live peacefully within our borders. That's my hope. I appreciate that question. Let's all pray and let's act so that Israel can have a more successful future. Thank you very much. I'd like you to submit all of your questions for next week's. You can submit them to this daily briefing. We would also ask that you continue to like and share this with your friends so that we can reach a wider audience. We also want to announce that we have now a Spanish language channel. You'll find links in the description and across all of our platform. That's all we have time for. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Israel time, 8 a.m. Eastern Coast time. There's also going to be a Giving Tuesdays campaign. Please keep your eyes peeled. If you want to give back, this is an opportunity to give back to this daily briefing in the Israeli Citizen Spokesperson's Office. We're here to provide you with the news and the updates in the way you like them. So please give us a like and also send in your support. Thank you.